What's going on? Brian Tong here, and welcome to the Apple Bits for everything good and bad inside the world of Apple. You know, we're talking M2 MacBook Air, new Mac Pros with the M2 Extreme, new Apple Watch rumors, and some iPhone 14 news. So, let's just get right into the stories. And many people have their M2 MacBook Airs, and so far, honestly, so good, really good. People are extremely happy with them, and we haven't heard of any major complaints or issues yet. Well, I do know some of you that aren't too hot on the fingerprint magnets that the Midnight has become, even if y'all love the color, and we'll still have to see long term if there's going to be any significant chipping around the ports. Honestly, the only complaints that we've heard is from other YouTubers who are up in arms and think the MacBook Air isn't meeting their high-end pro creative needs, because that's not who the Air is targeting. But there is one feature that's been revealed that is still a mystery. The new M2 MacBook Air was taken apart by iFixit, and they discovered that it's the first Apple Silicon Mac ever with a built-in accelerometer. And there's no word yet on what the accelerometer might be for. We've seen it in iPhones and iPads to provide movement, speed, rotation, acceleration data, but there's yet to be an obvious reason for why it's in the new M2 MacBook Air. I first thought, hey, maybe it helps with spatial audio if your laptop gets moved during you mid-listen. That's not it, though. Maybe it detects if the laptop has been dropped for warranty purposes, or it could support video stabilization when you're doing video conferencing. But again, it's still unclear what its purpose is, but a software update maybe could take advantage of it later. Now, back in the day, you got to go back, Apple did have a sensor that protected the hard drive if you accidentally dropped it. That's when it used mechanical hard drives instead of the current solid-state drives. So we'll see if this accelerometer is ever used or just completely left alone. If you look back, the HomePod Mini, this is also another Apple product that has an unused temperature and humidity sensor that has yet to be unlocked for use in any way. So we can just file this under things that make you go, until we see anything come of it for the Air. Now, this new MacBook Air also replaces the last remaining Intel-made component in a MacBook Air. It was a component used for controlling the USB and Thunderbolt ports, and now Apple is using its own custom-made controllers to handle that. So this is a significant move that the last remnants of Intel are now completely gone from their latest Mac. And also, I know some of you think that I've glossed over the slower solid-state drive on the entry-level MacBook Air. Look, my take is anyone who really wants to use this for more than 5 years or so, you should just get the larger capacity drive with all the photos and videos that you'll be accumulating over that time. And yes, benchmarks have shown that the entry-level solid-state drive is 30 to 50% slower. But I will throw this out. Is it an issue to the general consumer buying one? And have we heard anyone outright complain about it who has purchased one? No? Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry, but if you're handling massive files or working with big video file transfers, that you are most likely not getting a base model M2 MacBook Air. And I don't know a single person or tech YouTuber who's actually buying the base model Air that are the same people making a big fuss about it and bitching as if they were actually going to buy it. I think it always matters how a device is used and who it's used for. Like my mom, she would be absolutely fine with the entry-level model.
Hi, Brian.
Oh, hi, Mama. Now, not every product is made for you or me, so don't get all upset when you're not even gonna buy the model that you're getting upset about. It doesn't make sense. And I'm always throwing out bad apples when it's a fundamental bad decision that hurts the user experience, but I just don't think that this is really one of those situations. Now, if it was a slower drive across the entire lineup, yes, I would raise hell. And guess what? It's still gonna be, like I always say, their best-selling Mac of 2022. Now, in the latest Mac story this is pretty juicy, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman claims Apple had a Mac Pro featuring the M1 Apple Silicon chip ready to ship and launch to customers months ago around WWDC, but then decided to wait for the M2 Extreme Mac Pro for later this year. Now, he believes Apple likely held off to wait for the higher-end processor with what is being dubbed the M2 Extreme. We expect to see it later this year, and it could include a chip design where two M2 Ultra chips are basically fused together, and that would be the ultimate beast of a machine for Apple. The announcement could happen at the end of this year, but the launch reportedly will be in early 2023. We also have the rumored Mac Mini refresh and design change that has been expected to be just a spec bump now to the M2 chip with no anticipated physical redesign. And then the Mac Studio is now really being the next step up if you're talking about Mac desktops. All right, let's take a moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Baseus. Baseus has an entire lineup of accessories from chargers and power banks to hubs and more, so check out their StarJoy 9-port Type-C hub adapter that is going to be important for any MacBook owner, especially the new M2 MacBook Air. There's no driver needed, you just plug and play, and on this hub there are 2 HDMI ports that support up to a 4K resolution for you multi-screen users. There's an additional USB Type-C port with 100-watt power delivery that can even fast charge another laptop that's connected to this hub. And then there's an SD card slot and a micro SD card slot. You gotta love that. On the short side, you have a 1 gigabit Ethernet port for fast internet, and then 2 USB 3.0 ports, and even 1 USB 2.0 port for accessories like a specific keyboard or mouse or other peripherals. This Baseus hub, it is legit, it has it all, and it is an absolute beast. You can go to the link in the description of this video and use promo code 9StarJoy to get 10% off your purchase. So check out the Baseus StarJoy 9-port USB Type-C adapter. You won't miss anything with it. Okay, let's get back to the stories, and there's been more and more buzz around the next Apple Watch and the new higher-end Apple Watch Series 8 variant that's being referred to as the Apple Watch Pro for now. We've seen the flat design renders from last year, but the latest report from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman says the new high-end variant will feature the first redesign of the Apple Watch in years. It will have a new titanium casing, but it will not feature the long-rumored flat edges squared-off design. Now, we've talked about its rumored larger display that will be bigger than the 2 current 42 and 45 millimeter models, and it might only appeal to a specific audience because of that larger screen size. We're expected to see a 7% increase from the 45 millimeter watch design. Now, I think that they should make it 8 millimeters for the Series 8, just cuz. But the design will not be circular. I mean, that's been ruled out for a while. And Gurman says the design will be an evolution of the current shape. Now, the titanium casing will be made of a more durable formation of titanium to make this more rugged. It will reportedly have longer battery life that could last multiple days with the new low power mode, and the new health sensor is expected to be a body temperature sensor. Still, no blood pressure sensor or blood glucose monitoring. That is expected to arrive closer to the end of the decade. You're gonna have to wait for that. But there is really a lot of energy right now and speculation around this year's Apple Watch. We know the iPhone, it's always gonna be the iPhone and the main attraction, but I think Apple Watch feels like the most intriguing September announcement at the moment. And in a quick iPhone story, a recent report from Digitimes claims both the iPhone 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max will have 6 gigs of RAM and a newer and faster type of memory. It'll be a faster, more efficient type of memory compared to the older standard ones. The entire iPhone 14 lineup is expected to have 6 gigs of RAM, but the Pro models are expected to feature LPDDR5 RAM, while the regular 14 and 14 Max are expected to have the same LPDDR4 RAM as the iPhone 13 lineup. So based on the current reports, the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, they're gonna feature the new A16 chip and have faster performing memory, while the iPhone 14 and 14 Max will still use the A15 chip and the same memory from the iPhone 13 lineup. And maybe the extra juice will be able to help support the rumored new camera and its potential 8K video features, but I'm guessing, I'm throwing this out there, obviously most people will feel no difference in the normal day-to-day use of the entire iPhone 14 and 14 Pro lineup. Also, there's still no USB Type-C port, just in case you're wondering. And remember, Apple has never mentioned its RAM capacity or capabilities in the past for the iPhone. Never. So, because it's differentiated here, will they make it a big deal for the iPhone 14 finally to try to show a differentiation between the models? And will you actually benefit from it? We'll see. And then here's something really fun that I loved. Michael Stieber has launched the free app called the Apple Store Time Machine. And this is an amazing trip back in the time. That's a free interactive app that you can go visit at the link on screen to download. It features 4 store designs. The first Apple Store from Tyson's Corner. This was also the same design as the Palo Alto Apple Store that I worked at and was the one Steve Jobs would go to. You got the first mini store concept from Stanford that was 5 minutes away from the store I worked at. And then you have the original Fifth Avenue store design from New York and the Infinite Loop store that was on Apple campus. And I've been to or worked at all of these 4 stores during these times. And the walkthrough and experience that Michael created here, you got to give him so much credit. It is so nostalgic. It's really fun, and it brought back memories for me. I just wanted to show him love for this, and it's absolutely worth checking out if you're into this stuff. And also, because I did realize like some of you all watching never knew what the first Apple stores even looked like. But it's an awesome experience, so check out the Apple Store Time Machine from Michael Stieber. All right, that's gonna do it for this video. If you like what you see, give me that thumbs up, subs up, and hit that notification bell, ding, to get all my latest videos when they drop. And if you want more of that Apple goodness, you can check out my weekly Apple Bits XL audio podcast to get the latest deep dive with all these stories and new ones every week with special guests. Thanks again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace and love.